Hi everyone, and thanks for checking out my channel. I'm going to make a video that's a bit different from the usual ones, where I'm going to review the current position that I'm holding with the target I'm having and potential invalidation for these trades. So these are swing trades that aiming at catching up large moves over a few weeks, potentially even months, until we actually get to the targets. Currently these are WTI, crude oil, platinum, silver, wheat and Bitcoin, and I'm long on all these markets. I'm going through each of them to actually explain why. So starting with WTI, as we can see, and I did present that in many videos before, I still believe we are in a solid uptrend, as we can see here inside that channel. So the upper line is a little bit theoretical at the moment. We're still missing another touch to confirm this is a proper trend line, but this is the parallel to the lower support trend line that's definitely validated, especially with the recent drop to 62 that got bought back very quickly. So I'm trading that cup handle pattern that's been actually accumulating under 66, more actually between 66 and almost 68. We did actually break inside. So this is the daily chart. So that's a relatively long-term view. As we can see, we broke nicely last week, did retest that previous resistance around 66, and I believe the next step, if we don't actually get another retest at 63, but I don't think that will happen, I believe we are going to enter some sort of an accumulation under that level, but then we're gonna get some nice break out toward the target that is around 65. So it's just right here. If we take the cup, put that here on the breakout, and we just meet straight here. So would confirm that trend line as well. Would be of course then probably safer to actually exit long position, potentially loading short to actually trade some potential pullback toward that zone 66, 67. But yeah, definitely extremely interesting trade that we could put it. So as we can see here, so that's the daily now. It was actually the 4 hours before, sorry. We can see that 75 was the major resistance level before the significant drop we had in 2018. So we're going to retest that level very likely, but then it will be a struggle to break higher, especially this current situation might actually prove it difficult to actually break it straight away. But as long as we're staying inside that channel, we don't break that level, I believe the uptrend and buying dips will be the best strategy on WTI. So if we write this down, so we got the target at 75, and in terms of invalidation, I would say that as long as we're actually holding 60, so it's relatively wide. As long as we're holding that 60 level, it's all safe inside the channel. These pullback are just normal technical correction. So yeah, if we look quickly at the quote reports here, you can see that the managed money has been actually relatively on the sideline during that time. So they kind of accumulating but almost reducing their long position. I'm not overly concerned with that for one reason, is that usually when they actually get to the peak and they're following the move too consistently, they could actually reverse and start taking profits. They're not doing this, which is in my opinion a good sign. They can still continue to accumulate and push that a bit higher, but this is not necessarily what's driving this market to the upside. So there's nothing concerning in my opinion at the moment. And I believe we're going to likely see continuation of that move to the upside. Now, if we move and see platinum, so I think that's a market that's been really struggling to break much higher following a major breakout of the 1000 level earlier this year. Was actually back in December last year. Did actually break another key level, was at 1170, and now we are kind of ranging for quite some time here. So there's some sort of a trend line that's supporting the price here, and as long as we actually hold that 1100 level, everything should be okay. So my invalidation, I'm watching it, is 1100 for platinum. If we break that level, then some potential further move to the downside as possible. We can see there's a daily divergence in place that's actually calling for a retest of 1000, but we don't necessarily have to do this now, especially since the momentum is actually catching up nicely alongside that support trend line. So I'm still in favor of continuation of that move to the upside. As we can see, the target isn't changed. We take the cup handle pattern on the breakout, and we're actually targeting 1400. That could be slightly higher, but that area here could actually go and attempt to actually get to 1500, but I think 1400 would be already quite a good target for this. So time wise, I mean, it could be in the coming weeks, could be in coming months, a bit hard to say. So that's why I'm just holding this position and let them run until I actually get to target. Pretty much, if you look, on the quote report for platinum, there's nothing really too concerning. There's no massive accumulation. As we can see, during that move to the upside, the management is stayed on the sideline. What I would like to see is some sort of break to the upside and a very large increase in number of contracts here. That would actually get above or near 50,000 net long position. We're still far from this, so that would give the push that's way enough to reach 1400. There's a bit of a reduction here, but I wouldn't be too concerned since we are ranging between roughly 1100 and 1300 at the moment. So yeah, so it's about platinum. Let's see silver. Silver is a very similar configuration, but potentially more explosive. If we look here, so it's a really big cup handle pattern as well that I'm trading on this. As we can see here, so the correction has been a bit deeper than what I was expecting. We did actually retrace lower than 50%, which usually for the handle is the rule, but we got some nice reaction on the $24 level, and now we're moving inside that uptrend channel. There's no sign of divergence, very strong momentum, which is why I believe the $29-30 mark that's been holding the price since about a year now will actually break. And then as for the previous market, the other markets, we are looking at a target that's 36, 37. It was a major resistance level before, so that will definitely struggle to break this. We'll get another one at 35, but I think with a bit of time left for this market to move, 36 is definitely a reasonable target for silver in a relatively short term. In terms of the invalidation, I would say that as long as we stay inside that channel, it's of course safe, but I would take 25. Technically, as long as we stay above 24, this is still okay, but 25 will start to be a little bit of a warning should we actually break lower than this. So I'll keep that in mind. So keeping in mind on this position, I will not put any stop loss in case there's a dip or something that's triggering all the stop loss to downside. So we're just watching these markets and exit manually should I actually see the level broken in some of a daily close or somewhere there. If we look on the quote report for silver, it's been quite consistently pushing. As we can see, we are trying to reach and break above 50,000 net long contracts, but that's not done yet. We can of course push a bit higher on this and get that price higher, so I don't think that's an issue either for continuation of move to the upside. Now we're moving to wet with some also still on the daily chart, some massive accumulation that did happen under 650. That's been since 2014 that didn't break that level, which is why I believe this is very important now what's going to happen next. We don't really have a proper handle on that pattern. It's really just a large cup. We report on that breakout. And it was kind of a false breakout a couple of times earlier this year. We got the first attempt here, rejected another attempt here, and they got rejected much lower to 600. That did actually hold nicely, and we got a proper breakout with another retest of 650. So it's been quite hard to actually hold this position and see all the profits gone, but ultimately I think the target, which is sitting at 940, is really worth the patience. That's a previous level that's been reached back in 2012, very critical. In terms of fundamentals, of course, we're entering now summer, so a lot of heat, warm, that could actually be detrimental for future crops, so that could actually definitely trigger some nice move to the upside inside that channel. So the target for me for that swing is 940, so it's extremely optimistic and ambitious. So we'll see how we go, but in terms of the invalidation for width, as long as we stay inside the channel, all good. 600 potentially here breaking below, so I would say 580, and we are all safe. So as you can see, it's a very large range, but currently the price is sitting still quite close to 600, so it's much closer to the actual stop loss than the target, of course. So there's still a fair bit of a way to go. If we look at the quote report, I don't think we can learn much from it. Just there. As we can see, the management, they are quite neutral, and there are a lot of contracts and possible they can actually put to push that price to the upside, but there's nothing really too concerning about the quote report that could actually say that the move is over and we are reversing. And finally, we're looking at Bitcoin. A lot of noise about Bitcoin recently that caught my interest to actually open long. If you follow my entries, I didn't really get the best one because that push to the downside was unexpected, of course, with the large drop we got on the break of 43 that caught many off guard. But now we're having a setup that, in my opinion, is pretty much a nice reversal. The question now, as we're having now some major resistance above 50k, can we actually break that level and resume some more sustainable and put a new all-time high above 70 somewhere? That's all a question mark, in my opinion. It's kind of potential that we are not going to do that, and that we are entering actually some sort of a bear market on the cryptos for the coming months, potentially years, similar to what happened in 2017. But the reaction at above 50 will be critical. I have little doubt that we're going to retest that level from here. Why? Because we're having some significant daily divergence here at that level. And that we are running on the daily really close to 200 MA, and yes, just simply that now we're also having the volume, of course, on the large drop here that are just going down, and I doubt we can break a significant support level with such a low volume on the sell side. So for Bitcoin, my target, I think that is already a bit ambitious given the where we are at the moment, is 52,000, and that one here I think could happen in the coming weeks. Should we actually start pushing lower than 32, and I would say below 30, that would actually stretch the divergence somewhere there in that area. It is still acceptable, but that would definitely be a stretch in many of the long positions, and show that basically the sellers are getting back into control. So I would put 30 as a reference point for Bitcoin, not to break it and attempt to actually get all the close above. But as we can see over the weekend, it was a good resilience above 34. Could be a double bottom. Should we actually break that, close that level, sorry, near 36, we're going to make an engulfing on that drop. That's the 1, 2, 3 third touch on the RSI divergence. To me, that's a clean validation of reversal. If we look at the 4 hours, we broke outside, of course, that downtrend channel, the short-term one, but we made now a higher low. That's also confirmation on a significant time frame that we are actually making a bottom on Bitcoin, at least temporary, until we actually get in that 52, 53k area where the selling pressure will definitely return. So yeah, that's about it. I will make some updates on this when I do have updates to make. Otherwise, I just let these trades running and see how we go, and hopefully meet the various targets I have put down here, and hopefully not reaching any of the stop losses. So thanks for watching that video. I wish you safe trading, and I speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.